Hello, friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers, and we've got quite a form to appreciate today. We are taking a look at the Toyworld Conehead. Bear with me here. TWM02B Assault, which is, as I understand it, their take on a masterpiece-style thrust. And I am really, really excited to have this guy for many reasons. The main one being, in all of my years, which is coming up on 36 now. So in almost 36 years, I have never, ever actually owned anything that even could remotely qualify as a seeker mold of any kind. Pardon me. A seeker mold of any kind. And like it's just how it worked out. I've never had a masterpiece seeker of any kind. I've never had a masterpiece conehead. I've never had a classics seeker or conehead. I've only ever had, like, the closest thing I have is the Hunt for the Decepticons leader Starscream, and that really doesn't count. I think the only other thing is I have the first edition Prime Starscream, which also not really a seeker mold. So yeah, I have honestly really wanted to get my hands on something akin to a Masterpiece Seeker mold for a long time, and I just never did because the actual Masterpiece Seeker mold just didn't quite sit right with me. Like, just from the videos and stuff that I saw, there were a lot of problems with Starscream, and the KOs did well, but like, when I saw the Toyworld versions, there's the proportions and everything just struck a chord with me much better. Like the regular Masterpiece stuff, they look a little too boxy and a little too almost stout and squat for my taste. Not saying they're bad, but just I like this aesthetic more. So, Toyworld Assault. This thing is flippin' gorgeous. Oh, where do we begin? Okay, let's start with colors. The colors are lovely. I am super into this, like, really nice, almost semi-metallic, like, burgundy that's going on as the primary color. Pick him up, getting a little closer here. That's just a really lovely shade of red. And I mean, it's repeated in the typical places, like all along the center, and these little VTOL bits. Stripes on the wings, and some bits on the underside. It's a really lovely shade of red. And then this gray is also really nice. It's just something about the way, I think it's the fact that, like, it's a similar tone. Just the fact that, like, this gray matches really well with this reddish burgundy whatever color. Looks really, really nice. And then you've got, like, little black bits for the thrusters and the intakes on the front there. And the nose. So yeah, fantastic color scheme. The actual... I'll keep them up in the air, why not? The actual detail is also really nice. Just lots of really, really nice little molded details that add some... just... can't necessarily say it's needed, but it adds some appreciated texture just all over this thing. Like the wings, the body of the plane, the nose, everything just has a little bit of textural detail to it, which is super nice. And I'm really into that. And I need to keep him on camera. It is the typical thrust, well, as I understand it, the typical thrust silhouette. See if we can angle this properly. Yeah. Where he's got the VTOL engines on the wings and the small wings on the back. No actual, like, rear stabilizers like up here. I mean, for me, it's sort of like take it or leave it on any of the Seekers or Coneheads. They're jet modes. None of, like, there's not one that in particular that has a jet mode that I'm like, yes, that. But I do think this is a really neat jet mode. I do like it. The cockpit does open for absolutely no reason, because this figure does not come with anyone that can sit in it. But still, it's there. And they actually sort of kind of molded in a control panel there, but they did mold in seats. Not that there's anyone that can sit in there, but still, neat detail. And then the only other thing to go over are these missile launcher gun things that, unfortunately, my figure has the same problem that everyone else's has, and that is that for whatever reason, these bits don't hold that well at all in the secondary peg section of the wings, which, you know, that is ideally, I'm holding it way too close, that is ideally where you'd want to have it, because it just sits back a little bit further. Swing it that way. There we go. So you can see that just kind of looks a little better under the wing as opposed to this one. But the problem is, I'll try and maneuver this. The problem is this one just, like they're the two peg holes, this one just is not solid enough. Like it's too loose. Like not only does it do that, but like as soon as I flip it over, it's, yeah. It just falls out all on its own. So has to be pegged into the front there, which is disappointing. I mean, you know, it's not that big a deal, because honestly, this guy's going to spend most of his life on the shelf in robot mode. But it's still a little, bums me out a little bit. Let's just take a look at these real quick. These have some really nice detail on them as well. Just a little bit of that sort of burgundy-ish paint. But it's like just enough spots that it works really well. Yeah, I like these. They look neat. I like the just techno mess of the mechanical bits that probably are like have no real actual function. If this were an actual design, just, you know, they just did it to look cool. But it does look cool, so mission accomplished. I'll put these off to the side. And yeah, I do believe that's it. I'm gonna get this thing started and then go into the sped up transformation, because there are a couple of points to go over, which have been covered in previous videos as well, but figure I should go over it as well here. So let's get this landing gear tucked away, which landing gear is actually on a little bit of a spring. Even the rear ones. That seems excessive, but hey, whatever. So I'll tuck that in there. Tuck that in there. It's gonna be like this. Okay. Okay. There. Do this. Push you in with the little missile thing. There. Yeesh. Now these... This threw me off too when I first got this guy. I could not figure out for the life of me where the rear landing gear came out of. And now I can't actually get this open. I knew I should have brought a tool. Right back. I'm back with a tiny screwdriver, so let's see if we can't pry this open. Come on, there we go. So, pry that open and just push that in there. Oh yeah, that's right, that just pops out, so there we go. And in, pop that up. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna keep that handy because I think I might need it. Okay, I also realized as I was getting the tool, I didn't do size comparisons, so we're gonna do that real quick. So, yeah, my bad, sorry. Seeing as this is a Masterpiece style video, bring in Masterpiece Optimus Prime. And you can see there's it's a long jet. And our typical standard size comparisons. Get these arranged a little bit better. This is difficult. Of a Titan's Return Deluxe and Samus. Okay, so transformation on this guy. This is where, raise that up because this is gonna need some room. This is where things get a little tricky. First thing is to pop up this panel, little piston-y air brake that, as I understand it, is fairly common with the Masterpiece Seekers. And now there are a couple of ways you can go about this, by prying these bits up or just kind of carefully wiggling this bit until you can pull this back a little. And then under here, and this will pop out, move up, pop out, move up. And this is the tricky part, which is why I wanted to go over this. There's a peg here that's like super long, so basically as you roll this forward you need to bend the wing down, so you kind of need to do one of these maneuvers so you can get that peg out. It's a little bit concerning to do the first couple of times, but I'm starting to get used to it. All right, so there we've got our partially started transformation. Let's finish this thing up. Okay, so the transformation, from what I've seen, similar to the Masterpiece Seeker and Conehead molds. Some differences, obviously, but I really like the way all of this turns out. And the fact that the nose cone is actually like the head, and there's just like little changes to the transformation that they did that really make this robot mode look fantastic. Like the proportions on this, I just like these proportions better. It's just like a little bit longer limbs, a little bit narrower midsection. He just doesn't look... Can't tell if his torso's a little off. He doesn't look as sort of chunky and stocky as the typical Masterpiece mold, which I like. I like this sort of slightly more slimmer style. So here, there's a lot more black and a lot less of the red. I mean, obviously, it's primarily in the legs, which is fine. I mean, honestly, it looks a little bit too black on camera, but in hand, it's fine. I mean, I do think it'd be nice if there was a little bit more red here and there to just kind of, I don't know, pull it out a little more. It's an awful lot of black, but it doesn't actually bother me. I just think a little more would be nice. But yeah, no, it looks fantastic. I still love the color scheme. And just, I'll just stand here and bask in its glory for a few minutes without saying anything. Now let's bring him closer. I had to move him way out to get him all on camera, but you can see some of it is the same stuff that you'd see in jet mode, and then there's a little bit more stuff like the thigh details here, these chest details here, which he does have the missile launchers that, as I understand it, are kind of standard with these types of things. Unfortunately, the missile tips aren't painted. It's a little bit of a bummer, but I'm, you know, considering everything else, I'm really not that broken up about it. Still got the cockpit, which still opens for no reason. And these arms, I like the fact that like these arms telescope out, but like, I don't know, just sometimes with toys when they have that kind of pull out transformation, it doesn't, like, it just kind of, the robot mode suffers a little bit in that you have things like, you know, it doesn't bend that far or doesn't stay out very much. But no, here it is nice and solid, and it's quite bendy. It's actually like a full-on double jointed elbow in there, which, I mean, that's fantastic that they were able to fit that in. There's also some added detail, some painted detail on the inside of the forearm there, which is nice. It's not something you see very much, but it's there, and I can appreciate that. Yeah. And then, while we're here, why not? Let's look at that face. I'm not the biggest fan of the face. I don't hate it. I just, like, I kind of wish I could swap faces with this guy and one of the other Toyworld bots, because, I don't know, it's a little bit like, it's got a little bit of a gaunt dark elf look to him, like, all scheming and mischievous, which might fit. I mean, I'm not... You all know me. I'm not exactly a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the characters themselves in most cases. So I don't know anything about Thrust other than he's a conehead who is red. But I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the face sculpt. It's not bad. It's like, you know, just in a technical sense, it's actually really well done. And the fact that it's just nice and silver is great. But like me personally, I would have liked it if there was a different face. Just that kind of pinched in cheeks don't really do it for me. And like these 3 bits on the top of the forehead there almost make me think of Frankenstein's monster, like the black and white film Frankenstein's monster. I don't know. But yeah, still a very cool figure. And you can see also that I neglected to point out before, because I'm still kind of reeling from doing that transformation. It's just got a little bit of silver details here and there. I love the fact that they managed to work a waist swivel into this. Like, that's not even, I mean, you know me, I don't really talk articulation, or if you've watched any of my videos, you know I don't generally talk articulation, but I think just from an engineering standpoint, I'm really impressed that they were able to put a waist swivel in there, because there are a lot of moving parts in that waist. So yeah, he is very cool. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of having the guns on the shoulders like that. As I understand it, I think that's kind of meant to be like, I think that's G1 accurate. And I mean, it doesn't look terrible. It's just, I don't know. I kind of wish I could peg them into the forearms or something. Which, can I peg them to the No, there are no pegs for the forearms. Oh well, it's fine. It's totally fine. They don't actually get in the way because they can just swing way out like that, so that's fine. I know some people, I think, from what I've seen, are put off by the location of the wings. I think with thrust, they're supposed to be more down towards the middle of his torso and possibly facing the other direction. That's fine if that's what you prefer, but I like this much better. I mean, yeah, it may not be faithful to the character, but just silhouette-wise and aesthetically, I think that looks really, really nice. Just, it looks like he has wings. Like angel wings type. Not actually angel, you know what I mean. Like the positioning and everything, it just kind of gives him that look. And you can also angle them, like you can angle them back and forward a little bit more to kind of change the style, the silhouette a little bit more. And I really do like that look. Also, I think it creates an interesting kind of mirroring effect where you've got these winglets on the legs. So like when it's positioned like that, it's kind of like, you know, flipped and slightly bigger. And that was another reason why I went with this guy over the their version of Ramjet. I forget what that one's called, but it's the white one. Because that one, its legs are just all wings. It's just so much wing on the legs. But I did really like the wings on the back there. I'll probably end up getting their Ramjet at some point in the future, because I really do like this. This is really cool. But for now, can only afford to get one because I went and ordered this before TF Source had their super amazing customer appreciation sale where you could get all 3 of the Toyworld cone heads for like a little bit more than the cost of one normally. Still kind of wishing that I'd not hesitated on that, but he was in the mail already. It was just bad timing. Anyway, let's do some size comparison, shall we? And again, as this is a Masterpiece style figure, we're going to do a Masterpiece comparison. And he is actually pretty tall. We'll pull the camera back here a little bit so you can see. He's definitely probably about a head taller than Masterpiece Prime. I mean, you know, I don't think he's like absurdly big or anything like that. I still think it's a good size, and I'm not a scale junkie or snob or whatever you want to call it, like some people. But no, I think it's a good size. And then, of course, we have our Titans Return Deluxe and Samus. I'm gonna pull it back a little more. I'm revealing the sides. Oh no! So yeah, he is tall. He is a tall boy. So at this point, I'm not sure what else to really go over other than just continually trip over myself talking about how much I love this thing. I mean, just looks great. Colors are fantastic. A little bit on the like darker tone side, but I actually like that. And it really kind of helps the lighter details to pop when they are painted, like the knees and the waist and all that. It's just overall really great. Fantastic proportions. A really, really cool silhouette with those wings and everything. And surprisingly quite posable for what it is. Like, just there's a lot of bits of articulation on this guy that I was not thinking would be there, but it's totally there. And yeah, just based on articulation alone, I think the Toyworld cone heads totally blow the Takara and Hasbro Masterpiece Seekers out of the water. Not trying to, you know, not saying those are bad figures or anything. I've said that before, but just articulation-wise, these things nail the articulation a lot better. And they hold together a lot better too. There's like just extra tabs there that tab into the sides of the cockpit section, so everything holds together really nicely. Yeah, this guy is neat to have on a shelf. The transformation, honestly, isn't even that bad. It's just difficult to do at arm's length, trying to keep everything on camera because he's a little heavy. There's some die cast in his feet that kind of add to him, and there's just some, you know, pretty nice quality plastics. So he's difficult to transform under those circumstances. But honestly, the transformation is totally fine. It's not very complicated at all, and like everything moves as it should. It works really well. It all makes sense, and it just, with just a few minor changes, like how the legs open up and where the feet come out from, and how the torso kind of separates and spins, like just these minor tweaks to the general framework of the Masterpiece Seeker transformation. I think they've done some really impressive stuff and have been able to make something that just, it looks great. Just across the board, looks great. So that's going to do it. Because I'm repeating myself again. It always gets to that point. Anyway, that has been my look at the, bear with me again, the Toyworld Conehead TWM02B Assault. This thing is super cool. If you can get your hands on it, like if you are curious, like if you've been thinking about whether you want to do Toyworld or Masterpiece, I would suggest this, but you know, keep in mind, I've never actually personally handled any Masterpiece Seekers or Coneheads, so I can't make that kind of direct comparison. I'm just going based off of what I've seen in videos and pictures, but honestly, I cannot fathom the official ones being as completely awesome as as these. It's just the transfer. Like I'm repeating myself after I said I'm done repeating myself. Ugh. But anyway, yeah. If you're on the fence about this or like Takara, Hasbro, honestly, I'd say go with Toyworld. If you have just been on the fence about whether or not you want to get any of the Toyworld Coneheads, I mean, you know, you can form your own opinion, but my suggestion would be if you think you want it, get it, because it's very cool. So yeah, totally worth it. Anyway, that's that. Thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more and sometimes exactly than what meets the eye. I should stop trying to do that.